Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Season 3, Lawn Care CEO podcast, where lawn guys become leaders. My name is Dan Ralphs. I'm the head coach of the Lawn Care CEO. Welcome, 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 welcome. It's the beginning of the season. Sweat is dripping off your face right now. It is a beautiful day. And our guest today is taking time out of the busy season in turf care in order for us to glean a little bit of wisdom. And the magic of our guest today is literally the journey from 89 clients to 800 clients, 799 clients, and literally made that journey all within the span of 2 years. And so to me, that is a magical storyline, and I wanted to share it with you. We're going to hear all of the ins and outs of how he went on that journey. Today's guest, from Rock Hill, South Carolina,
Clover.
Georgetown Technical College graduate, a Clemson Tiger alum in heart, the owner, CEO, founder of Hippo Turf Care, ladies and gentlemen, Will Hall. Man, Will, welcome to the program. How are you?
Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. Yeah, just definitely from Clover. A little bit more. If we want to get more exact, Bethany, South Carolina. Not a lot going on out here, but yeah, glad to be here. Didn't think this wasn't one of my goals this year, but to be on a podcast, but no one I'd rather be on it with than Mr. Dan Ralph. So let's do it.
Let's do it. Well, Will, I alluded to this idea at the beginning that it was like, hey, listen, you've been on a pretty radical growth journey over the last couple of years. And it's the reason we had you on the podcast today is just because I'm super curious to hear how that journey kind of went. But give me like how it started, like how did you get into this thing in the first place? And then tell me a little bit about where you are now.
Yeah. So, jumped out of college, did the college thing, never really liked school. Honestly, went to high school to play sports, hang out with friends. So then it was just like, all right, let's go check the box, go to college. Hated it. Nothing against it. It just wasn't for me. So I got out as quick as I could, which was the Georgetown route, like construction. Went to construction project management, jumped out, got a great job. Bounced around a few construction companies, great companies, still talk to, them today. Learned a lot of great, traits and disciplines and processes through that journey. Started a family. Me and my wife, Donna, got married. And then started having kids and realized, hey, these things are expensive and need to make some extra cash.
So was this just kind of a side hustle to start?
Yeah. So then a friend reached out and was like, dude, you want to come help me on some Saturdays? And went out and I was like, all right, this is pretty good money for 4 or 6 hours worth of Saturday. Golf game struggled some there, getting to miss some Saturdays playing golf. But it was what had to be done. And then he just wanted to kind of keep it his thing. And I wanted to try something new. So I went out, got certified, started the whole rabbit hole of how you do this stuff. Met some very intelligent
What year
people.
was this when you were like, okay, it's time for me to kind of try my own thing?
So, July of 20, I guess I was 23. Richard Fletcher, first Hippo Turf Care client.
July of 23.
July 23.
Interestingly enough, I think that's when Lawn Care CEO started, was the kind of late, it might have been July of 23. We might be like twinners as far as when we started here.
That was when it happened. Mr. Fletcher, he's down in Florida now. My first dollar bill. I should have got it framed. I didn't. Started picking up clients. Saturdays for a few hours, turned it into after work, and then Saturdays, and then getting the yard done after work, and then on Saturdays, and then that rolled into Sundays, and I didn't really align with, my faith and everything. And then we had our last.
So tell me for a minute.
Child.
Tell me about this little piece of the puzzle, if you can. It wasn't that long ago. So think about back to this time where it really is side hustle, and you're just cranking, and it starts to like expand past side hustle, right? And it starts to infringe on other things like Sundays or family time, or you can't go on vacation. It just becomes a bigger thing. So at what point and what helped you make the decision when you're like, okay, it's time for me
Yep.
to make this a full-time gig? Like, what was your
Yep.
thinking rationale behind that? How'd that
So
go?
we were running into, about that, that, that December, I had about 70 clients, running part time, Saturdays, whatever. So we had our, youngest Mallory in December.
Hmm.
Um,
Perfect
and
time to
I
start
was like,
something brand new.
we got,
Take a risk when you're
we got third
have a
kids here and we're
have
just
a
gonna,
third child.
so we're kind of just sitting around, phone's not ringing a lot in January holidays. And I was like, well, what are we gonna do? Like spring's coming up. I haven't turned down a client yet, and I got a full time job. Um, so we went into January, February, and
And this
prayed
is
about it. Thought
25 or
this would
24?
be this will be first of the
24.
year in 24. So
Yep.
January. So we prayed about it through the holidays and January with our third kid being a month, 2 months old. And I said, I'm gonna walk in on. I think I gave him 2 or 3 weeks notice. And I said, February 1st, it's gonna be my last day. So with 89
I
clients,
mean, is that like, are you terrified at that time? Are you
oh yeah,
like
yeah.
freaking
But I
out?
mean, I was at the same time, like I was like, if this doesn't work out, I've never not had a job. So let's just try
That's
it
a great point. That's a
and
great
I'll go
point.
get a job. Like still today, we could very potentially, like it could happen. Like
I,
anything
I
can happen.
I remember the
We'll go get
first
a
time I
job.
started a little business. Yeah, I remember going to my wife and I was like, honey, first of all, the worst that can happen is that I go get a job. And and by the way, that is what motivates me to this day. If I ever think about this is really hard and I want to maybe I'll just go get a job. I just read job ads and they depress me and I'm like, no, I better stay
Hmm.
here. But the second thing I told her is I said, if we ever have to like go on food stamps, I still remember telling you this, I'll go get the food. Like I won't embarrass you. I'll go do the embarrassing
Yeah,
things or whatever it is. And obviously it worked out. But yeah, that is a scary moment in the life of
it
an
is.
entrepreneur.
And I didn't have enough clients to replace my income. So I did that. I did, 89 clients. If you're in this industry, you crank that out and per round, you can crank that out in, you know,
Yeah, a few
three,
days,
four
right? Yeah.
days. Yeah.
Hmm.
Maybe a week worth of work if you're slow. But I had 5 more weeks to fill my schedule until it's had to hit those yards again. So I went and got another job. So White Wren Interiors, Jacob Martin, went to called him, was like, dude, I'm doing this thing.
Oh, so you
I'm gonna
did
need
go
some.
like, go,
Yeah.
all right, I got 5 weeks. Might as
Yeah, it's a cool
well.
story here. So
Yeah.
yeah, I had 5 weeks. We went to a job in River Hills in town. It was it's kind of like this room I'm sitting in now, like a bonus room.
Hmm.
And started with him Monday. He's just paying me on the side, like, dude, I got you till it's going to take off. By that Friday, when I left, Saturday night, I texted him and said, hey, I won't be back. Like, my phone's blowing up. So I worked for, White Wren for 5 days,
Oh, it's
trying
just
to
five
replace
days.
5 days.
Yeah. I love it.
And he's like, man, you're my worst employee ever. Worked with you for a week. So, but they're
That's
great.
That's awesome. And so there was like this initial fear was like maybe I just go get something else, and then it turned
I
out,
had to.
hey, this thing
Yeah.
started taking off. What would you? Because and then you by the end of 25, how many clients are you at? So in your first full year of full time.
Yeah. So February 1st, we had 89. First full year, we got up to 250 residential. And
Hmm.
then we were subbing for another, I don't know, probably 40 clients. We're all subbing for landscapers. So, but residential clients about
So
250
so 290 total route, right?
total. Yeah,
And
properties that we
then
touch.
and then from there we're at 800. Hopefully,
Yep,
like literally, he said before the call, he's like, hopefully we get to 800 today. We better, right?
we will.
We will. I love it. What, like, if you're to go say, not everyone has a moment. Not all lawn care guys that take off and start doing their own thing has the phone just start ringing off the hook, especially in turf care. It's probably more common in mowing.
Yeah.
What do you attribute it to? Like, what happened? That was it. Just the opportunity in the market? Was it this cool brand that which we'll talk about later? Like, what was it that kind of made it take off?
I mean, I'm a man of faith, so I believe my faith had a lot to do with it.
Hmm.
Jesus Christ, and then really my community, like the support they gave me when I went all in on it. I mean, my phone blew up from one Facebook post. It wasn't all, I mean, it was
Wow.
10 or 15 clients. Um, so we got a great community here. All of York County is awesome. And from there, it was really
And so, in
not one
part,
thing.
this is years and years of you being good to other humans, having other humans kind of be nice back to you, and in a moment where it's like, hey, I need a little help, the community rallied, and
Yeah, I
that
mean, I
that
think
was part of it.
I would hope so. I mean, that's what I want to, I want to feel like I'm a pretty good guy. I'm sure some others think different, but I feel like everyone's going to have those. But yeah, I mean, I try to do the right thing when I can and help the community when I can and that sort of stuff. But it really wasn't one thing that just kind of made the phone ring.
And I don't mean to make this too much about faith, but I do believe there's some magic in when we do right by others and we living a good life. Like, part of the reward of that is the reciprocity that comes, right, in having a bunch of people around you go, hey, I like this guy, I want to take care of this guy. And now you can't be kind to others, right? You can't follow the golden rule and do unto others be
Hmm.
for that intent, or it doesn't work, right? Then it
Right.
becomes just kind of manipulation. But if you're living a good life and doing it right, like, there is reward for that. And I think that's good for a lot of young guys to hear that, hey, this is part of the game here is learning how to be a great human and treat people right. And when you do that, there's good reward that comes from that.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
Absolutely.
Okay, so part of it was, hey, the community likes me. I'm a local golf legend, and and so people are calling once I put a Facebook post up. Anything else that you'd say you felt like, man, looking back at it, I did it right at the beginning?
I mean, we branded correctly. Like I wouldn't change our brand. It's going to be very hard if that conversation ever comes up. Um,
So talk a
we
little bit
picked up the
about
phone.
talk a
Hmm.
little bit about the Hippo brand, because honestly, I use it as my example of the ideal example of what a good
Yep.
local residential lawn care brand would be. Tell me a little bit about. So for those of you who are listening on the radio, if you could see Will right now, he's wearing hot pink 1980s hot pink polo, like 3/4 zip, uh, a bright pink shirt with a
Yeah.
happy cartoon hippo on the on his chest there. And so, like, literally a very bright, vibrant brand. No one in the neighborhood's going to miss it. And by the way, the little cute little hippopotamus that's sitting on his chest, like, I've always thought, man, I bet as kids are driving by in the back of their soccer mom's car, they're going, look, it's the hippo. And they
Mhm.
won't say that about some piece of grass on the side of a truck, right? So
Yeah.
talk more about that. I just think it's such a great
Yeah. So
example of what to do.
the hippo's name's Opie. So we're trying to
Opie.
get Opie as hippo backwards. That was a
Opie.
Facebook
I didn't even get that. Yeah.
OPPIH.
That's
Yep.
great.
Um, so that was actually a Facebook post. We did a contest and they named him or her. I don't know if
Opie.
she's a male. I don't know. But anyway, Opie. Um, so we want the kids to acknowledge they know Opie.
This
Um,
gender androgynous hippo that we have here.
yes, whatever. It's Opie. So, yeah, so that was like probably one of the first of many late nights is sitting on the
Mm,
couch. We were between Rhino and Hippo, to be honest. And we were going
mm,
like aggressive, like we had some designs and stuff and like everything looked cool. And I was between my wife and some other family members, we were like, no, we gotta go with Hippo. And we were thinking we gotta go friendly. Like almost the Barney, comparing it back to Barney,
yes.
the
Yes.
childhood, cartoon or whatever.
The dinosaur. Yeah.
The dinosaur, to where exactly what you said. When they see Opie, they point it out, and the husband's like, "Dadgummit, the wife told me I need to call somebody." and we got the kid just chirping Opie, 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 or the hippo, hippo, hippo. And when he lays down in bed at night, then I forgot to do my to do list. He jumps online and he remembers the hippo. Fills out the form.
It's such a silly thing. And then the yard sign's in the yard, and there's a hippo on it, and the parents are kind of happy about the yard sign, like where they're like welcoming it rather than maybe resenting it a little bit because the kids like it, right? Such a silly little detail that some small businesses kind of hinge on some of those small little details.
Yeah. Yeah. And we wanted it bright. We wanted it to turn heads. I think there's studies or whatever, the most common vehicle in the world's white.
Mm-hmm.
And then I've even heard Jonas, his podcast say, very small percentage of vehicles are pink and purple. So that's why you notice them. We're not everywhere. We've got 3 trucks, but you hear it all the time. We see y'all everywhere. And we're really not everywhere.
But you've created the perception of everywhere. And, when we teach marketing to little guys, one of the things I always tell them is like, hey, there are 2 ways we get clients, one through referral and the other through Google. 90% of our clients come through those 2 sources. So if I can refer for the person that I'm serving, and the way that I do that is if I pull up in a bright pink truck and I put a yard sign in the front and then do a few door hangers around, effectively the neighbor's kind of saying, I use Hippo. You want to know who I use? I use Hippo. And without them ever saying a word to any of their neighbors, we're making an announcement to the neighborhood that this neighbor has chosen Hippo. And because we're pack animals as human beings, we all kind of want to do what everyone else is kind of doing. And that makes us feel safe because, and by the way, especially if your yards are super green, they go, oh, they're using Hippo. And you get the full endorsement of that neighbor without them ever saying a word, just because we do the branding right.
Correct.
That's 1,000%.
Awesome.
All right. So when did Opie show up? Is this middle of 25? When did that happen?
Yeah, Opie showed up. Before we went all in. Wow, I didn't know you were asked that one.
So Opie was
he's an OG.
The OG.
We had to have something to put in the car. I mean, in the yard. It's like we weren't just treating and not putting a sign. I'm pretty sure Richard got a Opie.
When did you wrap your truck? When was the first truck wrap? Was that before you went full time? Was that early in the process?
Yeah, so we started with the oversized magnet because it was, my truck was for my full-time job. Like I had to drive it there.
Oh, yeah.
So I had to peel the magnet off. I'd put the magnet on, dress in wouldn't even stop at a gas station, dress in the truck before I treat my first yard because I didn't have time to waste. But it was the oversized magnets would fly off the truck. I'd find them in a ditch 2 days later and throw them back on there. So we did the magnet thing. And then we traded that truck for Black Magic. Black Magic was the OG truck, and it was a black truck, half wrap. So we wrapped it, and that would probably been late winter of 23, right before we went all in on 24. But it looked like a full wrap.
Yeah.
And RIP Black Magic. That's the one.
RIP Black Magic.
No longer with us.
The Black Man, Opie on the Black Magic. All right. So, when I'm thinking about this journey you've been on, one of the things that I actually know about you is you're not afraid to ask for a little bit of help, to say, hey, how do you do this? And really kind of network and leverage the network. Because one of the myths I think of entrepreneurship in general is the lone wolf myth, that the way that you win in business is you buckle down, you hunker down, you're alone in your room, and you just figure it out on your own. The true guys who make it are the guys who are willing to say, hey, how do I do this? And they go learn and network and ask for help, and they leverage vendors. They leverage at their max, right? In fact, you don't know this well, but we know that you call Lawn Care CEO a lot, and we're like, we love it. We're like, bring it on, right? Because it's like, that's what we're looking for. We're looking to help. So talk about a little bit about some of the people or companies or teams that have helped you on this journey that you.
Yeah. So
group
kind
that
of going
you've.
back to where you started that, I'm a very normal guy. So like in all these conversations, the very first time I met you at the brewery in Charlotte at the event, um, one of the things you guys said, if you ever have questions, even if you're a client or not, you ask. And I was like, got his number. So if someone ever tells me that statement, if you ever need something, call, I call. And
Yeah.
like I put them to that because at the end of the day, that's what they want you to do. And if I'm growing a fert and weed control business, which is basically a customer service business that happens to treat grass, there are clients that are going to call me with the first sign of a weed.
Yep.
And in my very South Carolina mind, if I'm paying, especially if I'm paying someone, thanks Lawn Care CEO, if I'm paying you for a service and I have a question, my coach knows that she's going to get CC'd on a lot of emails and she's going to get a lot of phone calls from Will Hall. And that's just the way my brain works. Like I'm paying you X amount for a service. If I'm Verizon, my phone goes out right now, I'm walking in a store, they're getting a lot of phone calls. But as far as my teams, yeah, I have teams for everything. We have a marketing call. So I lean on him. I talk to those guys daily, probably 2-3 times a day.
Wow.
I'm not a big texter. If I'm driving down the road, I don't even know how to turn my radio on. It's podcasts and it's phone calls I mean, that's the fact, of things I'm working on. It's either my wife, it's my media or social media. It's, Andy down in Columbia, guys in Charlotte bouncing questions, guys in my backyard. Talked to a company right in Rock Hill yesterday about
Yeah.
stuff he's seeing.
And by the
And
way,
then we
like I'll
have,
just
yeah,
call that out. Like I think that's one of the best things someone can do for their lawn care business is to turn off the radio. Like
yeah,
just that moment of saying, hey, I don't even, it doesn't even come on. Like I'm fully brain engaged during that time. And whether it's learning on a podcast like this, so shout out to our tens of listeners, right?
hmm
But like whatever it is, like where you're taking in that information or you're connecting, networking through that process. Like the
yeah,
guys who make it, Will being one of them, is like it's not that they're necessarily smarter, although Will's a pretty smart guy. It's that there's a little extra hustle. There's a little extra like willingness to be vulnerable and willingness to ask for help and willingness to just kind of be committed to get what they need. And I love that. Love that idea.
yeah.
All right.
We,
So you have a little marketing team.
yep.
You have a business coach.
Business
Anyone else
coach. We have
that's a key
I
player
talk
in
to
your
my Herald's rep daily,
mm.
not daily, a couple times a week. Um,
And what's
Double
the
check
role
them.
that they're kind of your agronomist a little bit.
Yeah, that's all. Yes, exactly what they are. Um, when we talk what's going in before each round, I'm double checking right before. I literally called him today. Hey, are these rates right? I know we set it up. I'm just that guy that double checks everything. And we
Yeah.
make adjustments on the fly. Hey, we're seeing this. How do we do it? I try to write down as many of the answers as I can, so I don't have to keep asking him. Um, but
But
yeah,
you're
I
not,
called
because
him.
you're not a native, like you weren't trained in agronomy.
No, gosh, no. No, I played sports and did a little construction, but I wasn't good at construction. I just knew how to delegate pretty good.
Mm,
Like I never actually did the physical work, um, day in and day out. But no, I've learned a lot about grass and, since 2022, 23.
mm. And then so the Herald's piece becomes a really important one because it's like, hey, I don't know what that weed is, but I have a
Yeah,
resource. I have somebody I can ask.
100%.
The business coach is like, I don't know what to do here, but I have somebody I can ask that maybe knows a little bit more. It's
Yeah,
that old example of I can't remember which president was like, hey, my job is to get a bunch of people who are smarter than me just surrounding me. And that's the
yes,
magic, right? The magic is if I can surround myself with a bunch of people who are smarter than me, then I have a chance to be really smart. I always
correct.
call it smart by association, where it's like I'm smart by association just because I know smart people. And that's how you can get to be pretty darn smart and way outthink and outwork. If you're willing to work, you can outthink and outwork your competition.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day,
So
our
yeah,
average client, if I jumped off here right now and do some follow up calls or sales calls, I can almost rattle off probably 3 of the 5 questions that they're going to ask, and most of those aren't going to be any type about what about this weed? What about type of fertilizer are you putting out? What's the yada yada? What's the type of pre-emergent? Like, you're not going to hear those questions. So you just need to know how to answer the questions of, what's the billing like? How often do you come? How do I know you're coming? What do you do if the gate's locked? What if my dog's out? And then it's like, did we even talk about the yard? What's my price? When can you start? How do I pay you?
yep, 100%. Because it's funny. I asked my dentist once. I was like, "Hey, how do I know if you're a good dentist?" And he was like, "I don't know." I'm like, I'm not challenging whether or not you are. I'm just saying I have zero way of evaluating because I'm not an expert in what you're an expert in, whether or not you're any good. I can tell you if it hurts or not. I can tell you if you have a nice receptionist, but I can't tell you whether or not you're doing the correct medical procedure in my mouth, right? Yeah. And I think it's a little similar, right, for our yards. Like, does it look green? Yeah. Does it look really weedy?
Weed free?
Yeah, weed free. It's like, yeah. And everything else is like, that's the magic of why I pay you, is because I don't have to know about all that stuff. Yeah. I always thought that as a parent, as a teacher at one point, I was like, I just got to be one page ahead. I just got to know more than the guy that's calling in. That's all I need to know. And that gets pretty easy pretty quick. So we get to end of 2024. Or end of 2020, end of 2024. Is there anything that happened in 2025? Because that was a pretty big jump from 250 to now 800 a year later.
Yeah, 2024 was fun. 2025 was really fun. So we hired I was on the fence. So like I called Aaron, and I was like, hey, I need to hire. I don't know what I need to hire. And he walked me through the scenarios, and I enjoy all of it. Like, I enjoy treating, I enjoy the sales process, I enjoy the customer service. But I was like, man, I can produce. Like, I'm pretty good at producing. Like, I don't mind working. He said, it sounds like you need a VA. So then reached out to a client or a friend of mine up in Charlotte who has a couple of VAs, and he lined me up with an interview in New Year's Eve of 23, literally the day before 2024. We interviewed on a Zoom call. He was supposed to go on a Zoom call with his VA. He didn't show up, so it's me and 2 VAs on this call, and I'm sitting at Starbucks. And about 15, 16 minutes later, we hired Jebby, our first VA, and it was a lot. And we learned, what went on. We didn't get her enough training before spring of 25, and it was just like, here we go. But she took a lot off my plate. She was learning every day, and that was kind of the first employee that we had. That was kind of the big, I guess, first move.
And what do you have because out of the Philippines, I assume, and what do you have your virtual assistant doing?
Just name it, and they do it. They do everything but treat the yards.
Selling?
Everything but selling. Yeah,
Customer
she sold
service?
her first one. Yeah, she sold her first one on probably spring of 25. And she called me and told me she sold it. I said, you send me that recording right now, please. So it was, sorry, Joe, you didn't do a really great job selling it, but she sold it in the day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, customer service. Now she can sell on the phone. She's training our second VA who started 2.5 weeks ago. Might be 2 weeks to the day, actually.
It's amazing.
Yeah, so she's off and running. She communicates with both technicians, myself.
Do you by chance know her conversion rate?
I don't.
Oh, I'd be so curious to know that. And this is something we've kind of stumbled on. I think that there comes a moment that if you're out hustling and doing, we'll talk a little bit about some of the marketing things you did. You're out hustling, the phone's going to start to ring. Phone's going to start to ring. And one of the true laws of sales is speed kills, right? So
Yeah.
if I pick up the phone literally within the first two rings, and I answer the phone, and by the way, the script is simple. It's not a hard script. Hi, welcome to Hippo Turf Care. How can I help you?
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm looking to get my yard treated. Fantastic. We have a 10 round program that's going to blah, 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 blah.
Yep. Yep.
And if you sign up today, it's $89. Looking at your property, it's $89. And we could actually get you scheduled your first treatment within the next, the next couple of days. Would you like to get
Correct.
started? I mean, it's that simple, right? And so
I
you
do.
don't have to be a really talented salesperson to deliver that message. And and that's way better than the phone getting to ring four and that person's hung up and calling the next company. So if we
Yes.
are going to get phone calls, man, we better answer them. And that's
Correct.
kind of the magic. And turns out the folks in the Philippines have a lot of experience with customer service, US based customer service, and they're pretty good at it.
Yep.
Yeah, I love that. All right, so we got the VA in place. That's part of what's starting to move the needle. Anything else that's happening early in 25 that's kind of taking us from, again, I'm trying to get a sense of like, for the folks listening at home, if I'm like trying to grow this thing, what were some of maybe the marketing things that happened in early
Yeah.
24 or 25? I'm sorry, early 25 that kind of pushed the needle. If you were giving marketing advice, what would you say?
I think you just got to show up. Like,
Hmm.
so many people scroll these days, and you just got to show up. And you don't necessarily even have to. I use it like somebody said it before, like post and ghost. Like, I'll get comments, and it's very hard to find time to even like them or comment back on them. It's just because like the post and ghost. But the fact that
Hmm.
they're seeing a guy with a pink shirt in their news feed, and they've had a long day of doing accounting or whatever they do for work, and I'm over there talking about, you know, a joke or what are we eating for a team breakfast? What do my guys like? And they say liver mush. It might give them a little chuckle. They're not thinking about lawn care right then, but um, maybe one day they will. And they're like, there's some pink dude at some hippo something, and it just starts the conversation. So it's another. I use it more
So
of a touch
you're
point.
talking specifically social media. When you're creating social
Social
media
media, yeah,
videos, you're
just
just kind of
another.
being yourself, whatever's coming to mind, not anything like promotional, not like lawn care tips
Not
necessarily,
necessarily.
just like being you. I like
Yeah,
that.
just kind of showing like day in the life, and people just, I think they want to see stuff.
Do you do other things like yard signs, door
Yeah.
hangers,
Yeah, we
do
actually
some of those
started,
fundamentals?
yeah, Yard Signs has been since day one, truck route, bright uniforms. We actually used to have gray shirts, gray and like tan with it on, hippo on it. But I was like, this is dumb. Our truck's pink. Why don't we have pink shirts on? Like, why aren't we turning heads when we're treating yards? Um, we do have a pretty cool idea. We haven't been able to pull it off yet, so that's coming. To turn some heads and some yards. So that's coming down the pipeline. You have to follow us on social media. I'm not
I
going to
love it.
spill the
Yeah,
beans.
follow us on social
Follow
media.
Hippo Turf Care. That will definitely turn some heads when we do that.
I love it. I like. By the way, my partner Aaron has a mascot
Yeah.
like a college
Yep.
mascot uniform for his character,
Yep.
the green
Yeah.
thumb
Green
guy.
thumb.
I feel like Hippo's begging for it. Hippo's begging for
We've got the
a
quote. We've got the quote.
it's not cheap to get one of
It's
those
not.
outfits. It is not cheap. So I don't know when Opie's going to come to life, but it's going to be a cool day. So you
We've
do
got
fundamental things. You
Amazon.
do door hangers.
Hmm.
I notice you have 169 5-star reviews, which is a really solid
Okay.
number. Um, how do you go about getting 5-star reviews? Because I know a lot of young guys, they'll have 12 or 18 or
Yep.
22. 169 is a solid showing.
Yeah. So, I mean, number one, it seems very elementary, but I get asked that a lot. So you got to ask, and they'll kind of look at me like I got four heads, and I'll be like, literally, when I was small, I took a notes and I typed it up one time, and when I serviced Susie's yard, I didn't have a CRM at that point. It was a text to Susie, yada yada yada, what was done. If you don't mind, will you leave us a Google review? And we had the link right there. So it's
Hmm.
just the same as Applause and Bravo and all these other automated um, Google review
Yeah.
requests. But I was just doing it the old school way because I didn't have the
Yeah.
money to do it.
The ones who are best at it, there's something about, like, my favorite question is, hey, was today's service a 5-star service, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if yes, then hey, would you mind leaving us a
Yep.
5-star review? So you almost put 5-star into your vocabulary. And I remember I stayed at, I've probably shared the story before, but I stayed at this Airbnb once with my family, and they have the intro packet, and you're reading through, it tells you where the trash goes and stuff. But at the very first paragraph was, we are committed to giving you a 5-star experience. Anything less than a 5-star experience would be a disappointment to us. So if there's anything that we need to do, they said 5-star like 8 times in the first paragraph. And it became very clear to me that they really cared about having a 5-star review. And they're probably the only Airbnb I've ever given a 5-star review to. And it was not because it was way better than any other place I'd stayed. It was because I knew that they really cared about it. I'm a nice guy, and so I'm gonna like do what they clearly want me to do, right? And so it's just a matter of asking. I think it's really wise, and doesn't require big software. Just a text message with a little link. My favorite example was, and then you go to them and say, "Hey, that link's have been having a little trouble. Do you mind just clicking on it and make sure it works?" No, you should.
Yeah, I mean, I think at scale, that's definitely difficult to do. But the one man show, I mean, if you can't get to 50 to 100 reviews, in my opinion, I don't think you're trying.
Yeah, I love it. All right, anything else marketing wise? You said something before the call where it was basically like, where do leads come from? You said everywhere.
Yeah, everywhere.
List all the everywheres, because I think that's an important idea, because it's like, some people think, man, if I do 1 or 2 things, maybe that will get me there. It's like, no, we like literally, when you have more time than money, you should be doing all the things.
Yeah.
And then eventually you're going to have more money than time. And then we can pay for some of these things. But early on, it's all the things.
Yeah. I mean, it's literally a little bit of everything. So, our existing clients, we have a big referral program with them. Truck wraps, yard signs, shoulder taps, getting shoulder taps on Saturday. Shoulder taps are if we're out working, customer walks up to us and we're singing with the song in our AirPods and they startle us and they ask for a quote. That's what we call a shoulder tap. So we get those. We get landscapers that refer us out, referral groups, little events. So we're doing a St. Patrick's Day event Saturday.
Uh-oh.
Where we'll get some leads. Obviously Facebook, Google. We didn't start paying for Google ads till this year. We did the basic, SEO, but we didn't like feed Google money for leads and stuff until this year. So just constantly talking to people, telling them what we do. Yeah, that's not really one go-to thing.
Yeah, all of the things, right? All of the things. I think that's really important, that it does become about all of the things. I love it, Will. And so we got all of the things cooking. Tell me about this. I've actually been curious about this for a while. You don't know this, but I've been curious about this for a while. What's the day in the life of a Will Hall like? Like, what time are you getting up? What are some of the like routines and rhythms that you've now put in place that are you just know things are getting done? Because I think that one of the secrets to all of this has been your just highly productive day. At least I imagine it to be a highly productive day.
Yeah, so typically we're up at my alarm's going off at 3:58 and we're hitting the floor. We're making coffee, and then my mornings is when I like can shut everything off and focus. And it's really getting pretty cool now because I can just jump on my email and just see all these things are happening. And I'm just kind of touching them. I'm not really, I mean, I'll get involved when I need to, but I can see like, all right, that's getting taken care of. That's coming up. We got that going. And I'm just kind of cruising through it. Now, there's still a lot that I'm prepping for the next round at that time. And then before I know it, I look up and, my guys are ready to be rolling up by 7. Summertime, we're getting rolling at 6:30.
What time are you getting in the office?
So everything's right here at my
Oh
place.
yeah, that's right. You work out of your home, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're like, I literally never leave work ever, like the whole time.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, and then they're filled up, ready to go. Whatever we're doing, they're usually on the road, and between 7:30 and 8, they're doing their thing, and I'm running around treating yards or taking care of issues, attending, meetings or whatever needs to be done that day. A lot of it still is some treatments. And then, you look up and it's, past lunchtime. I'm kind of all over the county just because of what my role is now, customer service and sales and, new starts. And, I
So
pick
lots of
up
windshield
equipment,
time.
a lot of
And
windshield time.
you mentioned, hey, windshield time is not dead time. It is productive time.
Oh,
Phone
yeah, we're
calls,
selling.
podcasts, whatever.
Yep. We're selling, we're following up, we're podcasting. Hadn't really been listening to podcasts these past 3 months,
It's
but
because season 3 hadn't launched yet. Well, that's because season 3 hadn't launched yet.
so we'll listen to this one. And then, we're just doing a lot of things. We look up, the guys start early, they get done early. Oh, that's kind of how I want to build it. I want to build it to where they can enjoy their afternoons, go home, clean up before T-ball and little league practice, and enjoy their evenings. And then my evenings, especially this year, trying to be real intentional about putting the phone away during that afternoons.
Mm,
Very, very difficult this time of year, but really trying to shout out to Ryan RD's up in the PA. Talk to
yeah.
him about that some, so we try to carve out that time where we literally just unplug and hey, it's just grass. At the end of the day, the client will be there. It's just a weed. We'll get to them tomorrow.
Yeah.
They
I
got a
love
weed
it.
issue.
I love it. I think it's really important. And by the way, it's like one of the benefits of getting to where you're at is like getting to a point where you can have a little team around you where you can, take a little time off and take a little moment and spend a little
Mm-hmm.
more time with family and be there on Sundays and be there on Saturdays for what's needed. All right, Will, I'm going to give you a parting shot here. Final thought. This has been an awesome conversation. If you were talking to the you of 2 years ago, the 89 client, February 1st, I'm about to take and do this full time. What would your advice be now in hindsight, having had a really powerful, magical 2 years?
89 clients. It's probably gonna sound weird, but I would tell myself to honestly go harder and go faster
Mm,
because like I would have woke up at 2:58 if I know it would have went faster, quicker.
mm,
It's tough. I mean, it's still hard. It's not fun. It's not easy. Um, but it is fun at the same time. Like I couldn't wait until my head was hurting because how many quotes we were getting out. Um, this spring, it's the same. Like that just versus like January and December. I'm like, why isn't the phone ringing? And everyone's just like, it's the holidays. The phone's not gonna ring. It's like, but why isn't it ringing? Let's just quit using that excuse. And let's figure something out. So it's fun. Like I just enjoy it. I think there's something that when I started this kind of triggered me. And like you said, it's very hard to cut off and not think about when, you know, I'm laying down about to, go to sleep. End of the day, it's just fun. And I think looking back, I guess that, I don't know if that's a great answer, but that's kind of what I would say.
yeah. I do think there is especially early on, there has to be an all in, both feet in, unashamed, unembarrassed willingness to have this be your identity, right? For you to be the Opie Purple Hippo guy. It's like, I wake up to it. I go to sleep to it. It's so all encompassing that to the point where I have to intentionally say, all right, I gotta draw a line.
Yep.
And I don't know that you get there as fast as you get there at very least, unless it is that. And so I do think that's sound advice to a young entrepreneur. It's like, hey, are you all in? Are there other things? Are there vices? Are there distractions? Are you on Facebook scrolling? Are you listening to the radio? Like, what is getting in the way of you being fully committed to this thing? And that's true
And
of anything in life. Like if you want a great
yeah,
marriage, you got to
yeah,
be all in on that thing. If you want a
and,
great family, you got to be all in on that family. And so
and
what is getting in the way of that? And like you said, I couldn't play golf as much anymore. It's like, yeah, dude, like you're now married, you're committed to this business, and we got to be all in.
yeah, and you really do have to, be intentional and make the time, obviously, for your wife and for your family, which is what we're trying to do daily. Because without, their support, this wouldn't even be close to what it was. So
Yeah.
huge part of it there. And yeah,
And for me, there have been seasons in my life where I haven't been as present with my family, but I've been just as devoted to my family
hmm
during those seasons. And because in part, I want like what you're doing will be generationally transformational for your family. So maybe short run, we are not together as
yeah,
much, but long run, it's really there. Now, don't get me wrong. Carrying that to the extreme, we could say, well, my great great grandchildren will love me, but my kids hate me, right? Like we don't want to do that.
yeah,
But
no,
there is something about I wanted to model for my kids. One, hey, we're like in the Ralph's family, we do big things.
yeah,
So literally, I remember I was traveling to Australia for some speech, and I did a PowerPoint presentation for my then 5 kids who were like the oldest was like 12. And I was like, I just want to let you know what I'm doing. I went to this conference. I spoke in front of all this big group. Like
hmm
I was gone for like 5 days, but I just want to let you know that we're making a difference in people's lives, and that's kind of what we do. And so I do think there are seasons, I guess is what I'm trying to say in life, where it's going to be imbalanced. And that's
yeah,
okay. But let's get through that season as quickly as we can so we can get to a season where, hey, we've got a great business. It's healthy. I have more time and freedom. And the truth is, your kids in 4 years, when you have a $2 million lawn care
yeah.
business and you have all this flexibility that their friends' dads don't have, like you're going to
That's when it's gonna be cool.
bring
It's gonna be
greater
really cool.
balance. Balance is going to come back to the force.
Yeah, and then I mean, obviously that wouldn't happen again without the team I have. I mean, Brian and
Mm.
Jonathan, who we brought on, studs. I mean, absolute studs. Great dudes.
What's really terrible, Will, is that you saying their names was all jarbled. Maybe we should leave it
Oh,
in. Um,
my team's
but
awesome. Brian
but
and
for whatever
Jonathan
reason,
kill
it
it.
came through. Yeah, say it one more time so we can get it.
Yeah, it's just, yeah. I said all that wouldn't be possible without my team members. Brian, Jonathan, the guys out in the field doing majority of the work, the hard work. Like they're just absolute studs. I think we got
Yeah,
another one coming on Monday that I got a good feeling about as well. So
and that's part of the magic is finding those people because if you can't find those people, that this gets way harder as well, right?
it does.
Hmm.
It does.
All right, so I said the last one was the parting shot, but I do have one more question that just popped to mind.
Let's do it.
If you were
It's
if
raining.
you
We
were
got
to
all time in the world.
oh we got you on a rain day, that's why the connection's a little glitchy. So if you were to give like the to-do list for a small turf guy who's like, all right, I got to grow this thing. The to-do list where it's so I'll give you a case study. The case study is there's a guy I met recently who was like, doesn't have a website, doesn't have a local business profile, does a little bit of like maybe has again that 89 clients more or less,
hmm
is just kind of getting going, right? What's the to-do list for that guy?
Well, I'll say we do
It's
it.
probably a long one, but what are a few
Yeah, I'd say
on
that
the
like the
list?
ground breaker is going to be what we did in Cape Cod. I grabbed two gentlemen. I grabbed Andy, Dave, and a few other guys. I said, "Hey, I'm putting together a group, and we're going to jump on a call because we all talk to each other up in here. But now we're about to go across the country
Mm,
at y'all's Herald's event. But we're going to do like a accountability call, whatever we want to call it." And we do that every Friday morning from 5:30 to 6:30 in the morning. And I'm actually on a second one on a lunchtime hour, 12 to 1 on Fridays. And that thing right there is from, I think, David down in the southern part of the country. I think he has like 10 to 20 clients, up to one of our largest members on the call has, I don't know, 14, 1,600 clients, and everywhere in between. And doing that right there, meeting once a week, just talking everything is game changing,
Wow.
because, that 18 client, 90 client guy doesn't really have people to talk to. Doesn't really know, okay, I'm here now. What lever should I pull? What about this? What do I run into here? What should I do here? That was kind of number one for
Yeah.
me.
I love it. And that came from that connection of that Herald's event we were a part of, right? In Cape Cod.
Yep, Cape Cod.
And but just a little promo since we're talking about it, like we have upcoming events with Harrell's. Contact your Harrell's rep. If you don't have a Harrell's rep, reach out to Lawn Care CEO, info at Lawn Care CEO to find out the upcoming events. You can go to our website, lawncareceo.com/events, and learn more about what's coming up.
And I'll just throw this out there, and hope the guys on my Friday call don't care, and if they do, they'll get over it. But if they want to join our call, feel free to reach out. I'm not hard to find. We'll see you Friday morning at 5:30. You quit showing up, you'll probably quit getting an invite.
Yeah, that's a generous
works.
offer, man. That's a generous offer to the 8 people listening right now. That's great.
They're all 7 of them are on the call already.
All 7 of them are on your call. I love it. Will Hall, what a great, I just feel like I'm catching like the first round draft pick into what will be a Hall of Fame career in turf care. I really, really I can't wait in 4 or 5 years for us to have you back on the podcast and just to say, hey, what was this next leg of the journey about? Because I know you have big dreams. You want to turn this into something that is generationally impactful. And I just think that, again, I'm just grateful you're here and that I get to know you when I get to know you, because you'll probably be too cool for me in a few years here.
No shot. Anytime. Thank you guys for having me. And yeah, it's been fun. Can't wait to see what happens next.
Awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Lawn Care CEO podcast. Thanks for listening. Again, if you want more free resources, access to events, etc., check out lawncareceo.com/events. I think there's also a button that says free resources, but I'm not sure. All right. Thanks for being here. And as always, go do more good.